Time to decide, do we want to get CULL Obsidian? Do you want to spend spotlight caches? Do you want to spend tokens? It's going to be a Series 5 card, so obviously it's going to be something that's going to be harder to get as far as your currency goes. Is he going to be worth it? He's 10, he can get 10 power, he can get destroyed by Shang-Chi. He's 4 cost, he can get cheaper due to Zabu, but he's also got some limitations on him that you can only play this card where you have a 1 cost card. So he's got some location play limitations. So you got to think about stuff like that. Might be nice maybe to squeeze in some goose stuff. If you got Zabu, you get him down there, you can play a 3, you got a 1. That's a pretty good win there. Something to think about. I don't have that deck in this one, but we're going to be looking at some decks. I've got one specifically that's got the loose framework of what you can build around. You can obviously change some of the stuff, but we'll get into that later. So CULL Obsidian, like I mentioned, 4 cost, 10 power. You can only play this where you have 1 cost card. It is going to be a Series 5 card, meaning 6,000 tokens, or you've got to spend your spotlight caches. We'll take a look at our graphic for spotlight tiers and where this one falls and what the other cards are going to be in that. Pretty plain and simple card. What are we going to do with the decks? Don't forget, Shang-Chi can't destroy this. So we are going to go look at our first deck, and that's the one that I made. Want to give a shout out to Marvel Snap Zone. They have a great deck builder. This is something you can do before the card's in the game. I really like it. You can theory craft here. You can look at what other people are building potentially and maybe think about what you want to do. So the crux of this deck, the foundation of this deck, I started obviously with CULL. I thought about Zabu. And then I started thinking about Crossbones. I was like, okay, well, that's all good fun stuff because I might easily be winning a lane with a 1 in it, especially if I have a Martyr or maybe even a Titania, and I could drop Crossbones in it. Something to really sort of get a nice early lead. And typically when you're able to play Crossbones in a lane, it can be hard to come back on that lane, and you could consider it fairly well locked in unless someone wants to really invest in it. And after you invest the Crossbones, you could potentially focus on those other lanes. After I went with those simple cards there, just those 3, the Zabu, the CULL, and the Crossbones, I was like, well, I know I got to have 1s, and I've already got Zabu, so I should maybe think about Khazar. That could be nice, because I could have some 1s that I could get some additional power to. Now, at this point, besides the 1s, you could start changing what you want to do, right? With the Khazar, you don't have to have it. Something to think about. Whatever 1s you want to use, you could change those. It's flexible in that regard. What I did is, well, I know I need to play 1s. Black Swan plays into this really well. So I maybe not want to play Black Swan on turn 5, but I might want to think about Black Swan on turn 4, maybe turn 3, and get a number of 1s out there. They're free. I want to get them out as much as I can. So I have it there. Now, also Killmonger. All right, well, so I put Kyera in this deck. I want to protect my 1s. I do not want to get those destroyed. Also, another 4 that maybe hides some things that are happening could be Supergiant. So I was like, that could be a lot of fun. Again, it's a 4. I've got 4 4s with Zabu. Now, there's not a ton of power here, and you don't have a ton of tech here. So that's the part where it's like, well, you might need to shift some things. Maybe you need Shang. Maybe you need a different Killmonger to take out your opponent. Maybe you need an Enchantress, Shadow King, etc. So that's a limitation there. But the ones I put in, I do want you to think about. Now, Forge, I just think is a solid 1 card. Giving any other cards some more power is also great. Now, the other 3 that I really like, because they're some of the best cost to power ratios, are Martyr, Titania, and Ebony Maw. The problem with all of those is they can limit you. Ebony Maw, if you do not either play it last to fill a location on turn 3 or by turn 3, it's done. Martyr goes to a spot where it costs you the game. Titania, if you don't play well, can flip to the other side. All problems. So because of that, and because I had 3, I thought, well, you know what? Let's play 0. Let's get 0 into this deck. You can hit your Maw, you can hit your Martyr, you can hit your Titania. I'd say the most important one to hit would be Maw, so that way you can get it out there. That's a great spot. You get Maw and Crossbones, I'm feeling good. I'm just feeling good at that point of the game. You know what I mean? Maybe you throw a Titania there late if you don't have prior or something like that to guarantee it stays there. I'm digging every second of that. So this is the deck. I call it Call Me Some 4s and 1s. WolverThor. Anytime I come up with a deck myself, I put it in there. But again, the foundation of this deck was really Zabu, CULL, and then Crossbones. Obviously, you need 1s. You need other things to play with. This is sort of just, I don't know. Like I said, I want to think about something. I could see where this might struggle a little bit without some additional tech. So what we want to do now is we want to go look at some general decks at Marvel Snap Zone. So not just my deck, but other people's decks. So what we did here is we just went to Marvel Snap Zone, put in we wanted CULL. So we've got some Safety Blade decks here. I think Safety's a great... Wow, actually, it's mainly Safety Blade. It looks like he's the only one who's really played with this so far. So I trust Safety Blade. I've not looked at these at all. What we're going to do is give our initial impressions. You saw the one I built. Maybe I find something here I'm thinking, that might actually be a little bit better here. So Safety Blade, I consider a pretty good theory crafter, pretty smart Marvel Snap player. So we'll see what he's got here. First one, he's got just some 1-drops. So we've got Cull, starting at the back, and we've got Zabu. And then his 4s are Enchantress, Miss Marvel, and Shang. I like those because of the tech. I like Miss Marvel because you get the 5s. I like this already. Then we've got Kyra. We talked about that before. We've got Jeff, just because, let's be real, Jeff's a good card. We've got Armor, probably to protect the Cull, but well, yeah, no, Kyra doesn't protect the Cull, so Armor's a pretty good call. 2-3, I like it. The ones we've got here are Nightcrawler, Iceman, Nebula, and Nico. Now, I love Nico. I love Nebula. Iceman's a good card. I think Nightcrawler... I don't know. I'd maybe see if I could maybe get something else there. I don't love Nightcrawler with just as a 1-2, but it's not bad. You could definitely put something there. I think overall it's a solid deck. I'd maybe tinker around with the 1s a little bit. I might risk it with Armor. Honestly, I would just make sure that wherever I put Cull, I have a 1, the 4 in Cull, and then another non-1 in that location, so that if I'm worried about getting shanged, I've got a backup there for Miss Marvel's little procket. Paint by numbers is the next one he's got. Let's see here. So we've got Cull. We've got Zabu again. So the 4s he's got, same 4s. All right, so the changes he's made is still has Armor, still has Jeff, still has Iceman and Nico. But this time's put in Snow Guard, which is interesting because you get those additional cards. Has Shadow King and Ghost. Ghost is interesting at 3-5. I think it's a strong card. I can't say. I mean, Ghost, what is it? You reveal last, correct? Yeah, you're always revealing last. So maybe you save that Cull for a final turn. I could like that. That could be pretty decent to save that Cull. I think that could be a smart move. I don't think there's... And maybe Shadow King and Shang. Those are the main reasons I have a Ghost there. So I could see it. The Snow Guard I get a little funky with, but I guess maybe with the Hawk and the Bear, that could help out some. Let's see. Cull by Night. The one at the bottom here. Again, we've got Zabu. We've got Cull. Looks like he's leaning into Werewolf by Night in this one. It's a 4 cost. Again, you get it cheaper. You've also got the Shang-Chi. Now, what I like about this is setting up for a gigantic final turn. So what you're probably going to do is you're going to play a 1 down somewhere. You put Cull down, and then you're really setting up, and you get Werewolf by Night out on obviously turn 3 or 4. And it's really most important probably to get the Werewolf out as soon as you can. And then you're setting up your Black Swan probably on a turn, I'd say 5 play. And then you're playing all of your 1s late. And so your Werewolf just bounces everywhere. You've got Beast and Falcon as a backup. I think the bounce folk are going to love this version because you've got the Black Swan, the Falcon, and the Beast to all play around with your 1s. And you can Forge, Spider-Ham, Iceman, and Nico, arguably the 4 best ones to manipulate cards and power, especially with your opponents, and bringing them back. And you could recycle that a little bit and keep messing with your opponent, and then potentially play them all for free and get your Werewolf bouncing around a whole bunch. I think that could be really, really nice. I like that a lot. I think the bounce type players are going to really eat the type of deck up, and I'm actually personally wanting to try this one. Blobby Lashley is what he calls here. Let's see, what do we got? So it looks like it's your typical Lockjaw Thanos deck, but you've now got Cull in it. You've got your Kyra, you got your Shang, you got your Leech. Pretty good call. I mean, it's pretty simple, nothing crazy. You use your stones to feed Lockjaw. The only problem with this is if you get, if you don't get your Lockjaw and you're stuck waiting around playing some of these cards late, that could be a little problematic. I mean, but it's not. I mean, if that's your worst line, okay, so that's not that bad. The last one that a Blobbly order is probably similar. Yeah, he's got Supergiant in that one. So I like these decks. I think they're cool. It gives you the gist of what you're going to be looking for to play CULL Obsidian. We're going to finish this video out by looking at the spotlight and telling you what we think as far as where you're going to spend. Now, sadly, I don't know how many more of these I can do because data mines are gone. So depending what information we've got, I loved doing these. I thought they were very helpful to the community. I'm going to leave it at that. Sadly, it's made me feel, it's frustrated me. I'll leave it at that. So let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. So what we've got here is save 4, solid, good niche, and easy skip. That's pretty self-explanatory as far as what I'm trying to tell you is the ranking of these spotlights. I had Supergiant, Darkhawk, and Zabu with save 4. Still feel pretty good about that. I think Supergiant, while maybe not making a big influence right now, I do think at some point is going to be pretty critical. When certain metas are just rampant, Supergiant's going to lock those down pretty good. We've got CULL in solid. CULL is with Nimrod and Thanos. Now, I will say, if you are a newer player who does not have Thanos, this almost moves too safe for. Even Nimrod, all three of these are good. Nimrod has a great place in certain metas. Nimrod was all over the place when people were saving it. They were suring it and then carnaging it and then also having Venom somewhere else. I thought it was, it's a phenomenal play. You get tons of Nimrods all over the board. Very, very strong. And if you double it and get 12, let somebody shang it. The worst thing that's going to happen is a Shadow King to it, which is still 6 points. It hurts a little bit, but it's not terrible. So I think this is a very, very good spotlight. As far as spotlight caches versus tokens, I think individually you've got to decide that. Last week with the Supergiant, I used tokens because I had like 35 to 40k. And I'm like, I'm not using these for literally anything. I had 10 to 13 spotlights. So I'm like, well, I don't want to open 4 spotlights and be really limited. So I'm going to start using some tokens. So I use tokens. So I think you got to decide where you're at in that balance and decide, do you buy token offers? Do you know, get a bunch of credits and save up your spotlight caches to wait for weeks when you really like everything in there? But I definitely think that it's a spotlight week that is worthy of however you might want to spend your currencies, cash, etc. I think the cards in here are all pretty good. And the ones we're looking at in the future, if with Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight, they're not bad, but they're a little bit niche. So Proxima, I think maybe could be another spots given with Zabu and just the fact that I think they bumped her up to 4-7, so a 3-7, that's really good. Well, that's all I got for this video. I'd love to hear what your plans are. Comment below if you found this video helpful. Please consider hammering down that like button. Until next time, we hope you have a wonderful day.